There's a company that spent $500 million in 1 month on AI.
We're always joking about tokens. We're trying to understand what these people doing with these tokens.
How much money do you think you've spent on AI this year so far?
5 to 7K.
How much have you transacted so far?
Oh, it's closer to 300 million. 90% is covered by the agents right now.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what SquareFi is and what it does?
We're building stablecoin-based financial platform that is enabling end customers and the builders to build their own product.
How did you get your first $50 million in transaction? Anton, how you doing?
Yeah, hi Ivan. I'm fine. How are you? Thank you for the invitation.
Definitely happy to have you on. You run SquareFi. Can you tell me a little bit more about what SquareFi is and what it does?
Okay, so in a nutshell, we're building a stablecoin-based financial platform that is enabling end customers and the builders to build their own product or to use a modern financial infrastructure based on stablecoins. And there is main pieces of it is a stablecoin custody plus crypto as a service. So we're providing wallet as a service. We're providing wallets, managed wallets infrastructure. We also provide banking accounts for the individuals and businesses. It's fully compliant with the fully AML stuff and stuff like this on our side. So builders don't want to concentrate on this. They can just build the products and we will do all of this board stuff. And we also provide card as a service, but right now it's paused for the partners and we only provide cards to the end customers. So all of the products built around the core platform, which is built around the stablecoin. So actually, in a nutshell, let's say you can on-ramp through the American rails, and then you can top up your cards, which is issued, let's say, in Hong Kong, just in a few minutes.
When you say you have cards, you mean like a debit card?
Right now, we're working both with the debit and credit cards in different regions. So it depends on the specific program.
And is it just through your stablecoin, or can I use Bitcoin or something like that?
Right now, it's not supported, but we can build the specific products with builders who want to integrate the specific coins. Yeah, because it's usually, and if we're talking about this, it's its base position. It's easy to use, let's say USDC and something from Circle because it's regulated in most parts of the world. If you want to use the scenario, leverage the scenario that you just described with the Bitcoin, it's not very hard from the technical standpoint, but it's very complicated from the compliance standpoint. Because we're touching a fiat world, a real money world. It's not a real money. It's just a traditional money world. We should be compliant. We should be fully adjusted aligned with regulations. So that's why it's possible, but it's possible on a case-by-case basis.
So most businesses that are in this kind of crypto space, you can do whatever you want with the technicals, but most of the limitations are purely legal and regulatory.
Exactly.
And you have kind of two different business models in one, right? You're serving businesses that serve other customers and you're serving your own customers.
Exactly.
B2C. Where does most of the revenue come from? Is it from B2B or B2C? Right
now, I think it's half and half. So we have let's say it's so yeah, I think the 50 half of the revenue comes from the B2B to X and half of the revenue comes from the B2B to C, or in this case B2B, direct B2B flows.
Mm-hmm. What kind of businesses are buying this? Businesses that accept Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, sorry, businesses that accept crypto, when I go to the grocery store, they don't accept my crypto yet. I'm curious what businesses are.
Actually, surprisingly, it's not a crypto native. It's not a crypto business. Of course, we have some crypto companies, but it's I think 5% of the customer base. And in this case, most of the customers are those who want to leverage a fast cross-border payments those who have a complex scenarios. So one of the examples, let's say, it's a company with a very distributed employee based. So they are distributed all around the world. And it's very complicated to pay salaries to them. Part of them want to receive salaries, let's say, in crypto. So in this case, they can easily leverage this scenario. We're just building the specific stuff for this. They are doing it from what they have right now, but we found out that there's a very popular scenario. So we're building a specific B2C application. So these employees will be comfortable to receive funds. Of course, they can issue a card and spend through the card or like go to the ATM. So in this case, it's much better, much faster, much easier. Another scenario, let's say, it's surprise for us when we started, pitching, a year ago. We started to pitch to some venture capital firms, and they say, yeah, we're interested to invest in you, but beside of it, we're interested to open an account with you and keep funds with you, because we need to collect from all LPs, we need to send funds to our LPs, we need to do some capital call actions, etc., etc. So they are also working with us because they are working. Let's say it can be like US venture capital firm, but they are working with investors from all around the world. So they need to collect both crypto and fiat from the different fiat rails. Let's say there is an investors in Arabian Emirates, in the United States, in Europe, and let's say in Eastern Europe. So one of them want to send crypto, one of them want to send SEPA. And there is different flows, but we can just combine all of this stuff, convert it into one asset, and give them an option to keep the asset or to fulfill this capital call that they need to do. So a lot of examples like this.
Mm-hmm. By the way, when you speak, when the microphone hits your beard, it makes a sound. It's fine, just for future.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to replace the microphone.
No, it's good. It's good. Okay, so you listed many different business types, especially you said for payments, right? When you're paying your own employees. I have some employees in Bangladesh that do editing for me, right? And paying them is a nightmare. Do you do that kind of stuff where you can kind of pay people all around the world, or do you have to?
If they can accept crypto, we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
If they are not okay to accept crypto, we will be able to do it in the next months. So you can easily pay to people in Bangladesh if they have their own banking account. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't have a banking account, unfortunately, right now we cannot support it.
That makes sense. So you said you're working with Eastern European countries, but also the UAE, but also I assume American companies too. That's kind of a very almost unique position, because some companies, they can't really work all around the world because of all the regulations that go on. Do you need to get regulated with the UAE, with Serbia, with Latvia, with the US?
Yeah, indeed, because I mentioned regulations, and we should be compliant, because in this case, all of these bricks can be all of a sudden can break down. So actually, how does it work right now? As we're still, startup in the scale up phase. So we have around main entity in Canada. It's licensed in Canada. It's regulated by Bank of Canada. So we're accredited. All of this stuff is completed. Of course, we can onboard Canadian entities, but there is not a lot of Canadian entities. We can onboard US entities, etc., because we're also FinCEN regulated. But in other cases, we can onboard entities from all around the world. But if we will onboard a lot of entities, let's say from United Arab Emirates, much more than we have with the US or with the Canada, it will be some questions from the regulators in this case. So what we need to do, we need to rely on local partners. And how we're building this, we have some umbrella partners, umbrella licensing partners in Europe, in the Middle East, in Asia. But in Asia, it's okay to work with our licensee, actually, with most of the Asian countries.
When you say umbrella, are these companies that partner with you and they do the responsibility of getting a license?
We're working under the licenses. So it's like kind of specific banking as a service or white labeling. So from the customer perspective, it still looks like, and from the technical perspective, it still looks like they are working with a SquareFi or with our B2B project Mosta. But from the technical and compliance perspective, there is some kind of specific connections. So they are responsible for the compliance on their part of the world for the specific partner. They are responsible for the transaction monitoring. But what we are doing in this case, we're integrated it with our platform. So from the customer perspective, it's smooth. And if this is like, let's say, US company and they want to simultaneously support Euro, USD and Hong Kong dollar flows, they will have it from the single panel, from the single interface with just a single click of the button. So they don't need to bother about the compliance, about the structure of this. That's what we are keeping within the platform. It's one of the most complicated things, actually. The technical part, the crypto part is not so complicated. The legal part, the integration of the legal part, yes.
So, I mean, you guys figured it out though. Instead of getting 196 licenses for every single country, there are companies that offer that service.
Exactly. And you know what? It's like kind of startuppers approach maybe in this case, because yes, of course, in this case, we're losing part of the revenue because we need to share this revenue and it's fair with these local companies that can provide us with the services. But of course, we're looking strategically to the specific regions. So what we found out is that actually right now we have an increase of the customers from the United Arab Emirates. So right now we're looking for the local licensing. And the strategy here is that we're not trying to obtain licensing all around the world. We are rather trying to obtain the market and understand the market from the specific parts of the world, and then obtain licensing in those regions that is like attractive for us because we have a data, not just data, but the real customers who are just transactions through the platform. That's it. That's a strategy about the licensing.
Why would you incorporate and have your offices in Canada instead of St. Lucia or Cayman Islands or like any of these easy offshore places? Canada, the taxes are high. What's kind of I think it's better, don't get me wrong. It's way more legit in Canada, but every country just has some offshore bank that they put everything through and it works.
We're dancing around regulated stuff, and traditional funds, stable coins, which is regulated. So most of the time when you are registering company in an offshore region and you're trying to obtain your like banking rails or be a part of the card scheme with a Visa or MasterCard, they're asking a lot of questions, and most of the time they're not allow you to be a part of it. Why? Because it's an offshore. So it's hard for them to establish a communications with the local regulators. It's hard for them to check the legitimacy or like, you know what I'm talking about. So is it legit or not, to check it, to work with the local regulators. So it's better if you choose to work with the traditional finances and connect traditional finances with the crypto world through the stable coins. You should be in well-regulated regions. Canada, you know what? It's a good region for the beginning. But of course, as I told you before, we're planning to obtain licenses in the different parts of the world. So as I told you, we were planning to cover Middle East with Arabian Emirates licensee. We are planning to run for EMI licensing in Europe to cover European customers. And probably we will run for the Singapore MSA licensee to be able to work with an Asian and APAC customers, or it will be Australian licenses. So we're always looking for it. We're thinking about it. And of course, if we can cover the region with the like Canadian license or US is like very hard, but with Canadian or European license, we will do that. But no offshores, because it's almost impossible to get seriously into the fiat world within offshore companies. It's okay for crypto, for the crypto-only projects, but it's completely unacceptable in the traditional finances world.
So you guys essentially, when starting out the business, you said you're going to sacrifice profit so that you can scale faster around the world.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what worked. I think a lot of companies, they would have said no to paying higher commission rate for licenses, to, you know, being in Canada, because you guys could have been in Dubai and that's like zero taxes, right? But you decided to do it like the most legit way possible, and it paid off. It worked.
I need to be honest. Yes, it's legit way, but to be completely honest, it's very hard to obtain a compatible license in a Dubai with what we have in Canada. Because to obtain VAR license, you need to spend like 2 to 3 years. You need to have a local advisors, maybe local investors. So we're just not trying to do that because it's very complicated. If you want to work worldwide from the United Arab Emirates, it's very hard, to be honest. So yeah, we're just trying to choose the best option possible, comparing like time, money, and the price that we need to pay. We're a startup.
Right. How did you get your first, you know, $50 million in transactions? Like, how did you get yourself out there? You said you pitched to companies, you pitched to VCs. There's got to be more than that. Like, what's your first sale? Tell me about that.
Yeah, actually, when we started, it wasn't like very funny situation because we started with Dennis, with my partner, as a tokenization platform. So, we decided to build something to help, entrepreneurs, especially those who are in a construction business, to tokenize, the buildings. So we built the first platform. Mainly we work with companies from Indonesia, from Georgia. So the specific regions where we have like agents and friends in the real estate business.
Wait, to tokenize a building?
Yeah, to tokenize the buildings. To
like
tokenize
an NFT?
RWA. It's not an NFT. Yeah, it was a lot of scam projects back to I think 2020, 2022, who started like tokenization business, and they just issued basic NFTs and then disappeared. So no. We decided to build a platform when you can like legally build an RWA infrastructure to tokenize your own buildings. And
RWA,
we started with this
real world asset.
Real world assets. Exactly. So
what makes that different than an NFT?
RWA is, again, is something regulated. So actually, why we call it, guess the biggest RWA in the world. Just try to guess the name of the project.
I don't know. It's got to be, what's bigger than a house? A company?
No, Tether.
Tether
okay. is the biggest RWA. Right. What are they doing? They tokenize in dollar.
Right.
That's it. So RWA is something. First of all, it should tokenize. It should represent some real world assets on the blockchain. Obviously, in this case, it should be somebody, some regulators or some organizations that everybody can trust, that can ensure that when you are buying a specific token, you can be sure that it's binded to the real world asset. With a Tether, we have a Tether itself. We have their auditors. So they are collecting all of these dollars. They invested in it in a low risk and no risk instrument. So in this case, we can be sure that when you like purchasing USDT from somewhere, you can be sure that it's binded to the real dollar. With like tokenization of the buildings, it's much more complicated because you need to be aligned with the local law. So there is like some regulators who can understand what blockchain is. So he can say that, let's say if you buy this like token, you have this like square meter or square foot. And
How did that venture go?
Very complicated. It was the beginning of our fintech project.
Was that your first company that you started?
No. My own first company. So yeah, I have a business background. So I've built a lot of different companies from 2010. It was a telecommunication company, a local internet provider company. So then I sold it. Mm-hmm. It was like a restaurant. It was some legal companies. So I just started building companies from 2007, I think. So yeah, kind of this. My partner, he's also like entrepreneur with an experience. Also, he had some restaurant experience. He also, it was his idea actually about the tokenization, because before this business, he just sold, I think, 3 or 4 parts of the property in Georgia. So they just did that, and it was really complicated. And when we met, he said, "Hey, guy, maybe you can help me to build the automatic platform, because it's a nightmare to do it like every time without the automation." So that's how we started.
So you started this, and then did it kind of transition into SquareFi?
Yes, exactly. We started as a SquareFi, and the name of the company is SquareFi. It's square because it's like squarification. So square is square meter, and square meter via Fi. So Fi is like decentralized finances, kind of this, the connection like this. And we decided to keep this. But anyway, what we found out, then when we started to sell this platform, we're not tokenizing because we don't have an assets, but we have a friends in real estate business. So we decided to sell them a platform, sell them an option to tokenize their assets. And it was so complicated to them. So it was so complicated to sell these assets. So most of them, when we started pitching, they are asking, yeah, it's interesting, guys, but you're from crypto, right? Right. Yeah. So maybe you can help us to accept USDT for the building. So somebody just want to pay. Can you just help with this? And then we realized that most of the potential customers, they don't want to tokenize. They just want to accept payment for the buildings. So then we realized that probably we need to like remove the complex part from the business and concentrate on what the market really needs. And then we added cards, because I have had a previous experience with the card processing, because I've built the crypto processing for some a virtual card projects. It wasn't the crypto cards back to the days. It was like the virtual cards with the crypto top-ups. Right now, it's like very popular to call it crypto cards, but it was just a traditional cards. So yeah, we decided to combine all of this stuff together, and here we are.
How did you get in contact with these, real estate developers? Were you just like messaging them on LinkedIn? Did you have like a connection with them prior?
Yeah, my partner, he's like a great guy in this stuff. I don't know exactly what he's doing, but probably all of this stuff that you are describing. I know them. Probably. Actually, yeah, it's a LinkedIn outreach. It's networking events. It's some exhibitions, etc., etc. So Dennis is building like the multi-flow approach in this case. I think right now, I cannot remember back to this RWA days, but right now there is like 3 outreach teams working for the like different segments in the LinkedIn, in X, I believe, in some email outreach company. There is like specific guys who working on events, like a team. So they're attending event, they're attending specific events. So they're like, we're trying to be as an octopus. When there is like specific event happening in the market, we're everywhere. So yeah, usually I'm connected. I'm started to speak with the customer just in the end of the, this deal phase. So actually, when they need to know more about the product, to dive deeper, then they invited me. Before that, they're just working with the customers without me.
How much have you transacted so far on SquareFi?
It's hard to calculate because it's just counting and counting. So I think roughly right now it's closer to 300 million, I think, or something like this.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. How much did you invest starting in? Because did you have to invest a lot into infrastructure, or was it mostly just investing in regulation?
Yeah, it's mostly investing in regulation, and it's a hard work. So actually, we started as a team of three. It was me, Dennis, and Paulina. So it was like three octopuses. I'm responsible for and I'm still responsible, but I just built the most part of the platform by myself. Then we connected another guy, so that's it. And that's why we can consider it as an investment, because if you can recalculate it on like traditional employees, everyone, every part of the team, every guy in the team invested like at least 5 times more than the regular salary that he usually can have. Mm-hmm. Second, we're invested our own money with Dennis, because previously we have some resources from the previous businesses. And then we collected some pre-seed investments from the private investors. Let's call it like this. So it's not the VCs, etc.
Because you said you've built many companies in the past and sold them, you've been an entrepreneur for a while, your partner has too. What are you looking for when you start a business, and what are the traits you're looking for in a successful entrepreneur? Because a lot of people, they start companies and their entrepreneur partner, they're bad, they suck. What exactly did you look for in your co-founder that made you decide that this is a good person to start a company with?
Oh, you're asking about the co-founder, because yeah, it was a lot of tragic stories about this. And to be honest, it just an amazing story that I'm working with a co-founder right now. Because in my previous stories, part of my co-founders, they just did the bad things when we are just closing the company or selling the company. So it was a lot of pain working with the co-founders, but it was kind of an experience. And thanks, I think, my life for this experience, because you should run through this like valley of death working with a partner to decide what to look for. It's a kind of prequel to what I can say. And it was a stories like when I shared the part, like I'm saying like, hey, let's do the business like 50-50. And then after the couple of months, I'm starting to realize that I'm doing like 90% of the job and another guy doing 10% of the job. But I'm too soft to say that, hey, we need to recalculate. So it was a stories like this as my life. And of course, like part of the business, the business that I ran before I met Dennis, it was like in the solo mode. So I was just a solo founder. But then I decided to try and give it a try again. And what I can find out right now, when you have a separation, first of all, of what you should do in a business, it will give you a better result. So in our case, I'm running product, legal, tech, and partners. So what I'm calling a back office, a back end, like a back end and a front end in the software. And Dennis running the front end. So he's literally running the front end. So he's responsible for the sales, for the fundraising, and also he's doing all of the marketing materials. And also he is responsible for building the websites and all the things from that. So he has a final word when we even discuss the design of the new feature. So this separation gives us the balance that I didn't have in my previous project. And yeah, in the second part, you should be completely honest and clean with your partner. So if you feel that something is bad, you just call in and say, hey, Dennis, something is wrong. So let's discuss. Mm-hmm. If you're not keeping it within yourself, it's helping a lot. And I'm really happy with this partnership. So it was like first time in my life that I'm feeling like this, that, you know, we're combining together in this case. We're like, we're working like two pieces of the whole specific superhuman in this case.
Yeah. I mean, as a Russian personally, I've noticed you have to be very careful working with other Eastern Europeans. Like,
yeah, but we're both Russians, native. So
yeah.
from the national standpoint. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no. He's Ukrainian. He was born in Ukraine. Then his parents moved to Russia. And my story is also something like this, because like I'm half Ukrainian, half Russian. No. Half Ukrainian, half Russian with some Jewish roots. And he's also with some Jewish roots. So it's complicated stuff in this case.
For every investor that's watching this right now, you know, very diverse, you know, we're everywhere.
Yes, exactly.
If you're Jamaican, we're also part Jamaican, you know, whatever it takes.
Yes, exactly.
But by the way, when you speak, please with the microphone. So as you kind of, you know, scaled the company and you were going through the stages of, you know, okay, we're starting to make money. How come you didn't just like waste it all on like a Bugatti and like nice stuff? Like how long did it take you to start like spending the money on nice things versus just continuously reinvesting into the business? What's the point where you're like, okay, I need to buy a supercar or something like that?
I don't have this experience yet, to be honest. I'm not driving the cars. I just hate cars. I mean, I love if somebody driving cars and I'm just riding with the person.
Me
but
too.
I'm not
I actually don't have a car for that reason too.
Yeah. So it's very hard to understand in this case. I'm very agnostic to this luxurious stuff. So probably I'm not a good person to say when you need to start to buy luxurious stuff. We bought a flat in Dubai with my wife, but actually it's kind of an investment. So it's not a luxurious stuff. It's just square meters with the potentiality to grow. Something like this. So for me, I'm really deep within like what we're doing with Dennis. Dennis, he's also deep within it. He's also like a very family man. So he decided he got a child. He's like almost a year. No. I think he was born. I can't remember. So like very small guy. Mm-hmm. His name is John. So yeah. The family man, so he's not about this luxurious stuff also. So we're not a good person to enter the question. And maybe it's like a good idea for us to start to, let's say, to switch from, you know, when we fly into Singapore to buy tickets to business rather to economy. So this is the first step that we should start to do.
What are investors looking for when you first raised money from investors? Was it kind of like just friends? Was it, you reached out to people offering the real world asset and they were like, hey, I want to use your company for something else. Here's $500,000. Like what are investors looking for when you're pitching them? Because I think a lot of people have a problem. They're trying to raise money. No one cares. What made it different for you guys?
It's like, it's a traditional, maybe, if you was born in the United States and like grow in San Francisco, let's say, and you're inside of the venture world in and out, you can raise funds like for anything you're starting to do. Me and Dennis were from we have a traditional business background. So first of all, you need to switch your brain to this, like to speaking with investors, to try to sell them a dream in this case. And to be honest, if we can say about the private investors that invested in us, we're pitching a lot. Dennis pitching a lot actually. But, if we can, in a nutshell, what we can see right now, first of all, it was a recommendation of the advisors. So it's a people who know who we are, what exactly we're building from inside out. So they can say that these guys they're not lying. They have a real product. They're building a real product. You can rely on them. They will not give up. So if they will cannot do something, they will try to pivot. So they will keep your money. And after that, these people can give money for the project. That's an experience that we have with Dennis, because I'm not an expert of the fundraising. I'm not an expert of the venture capital. I'm from the traditional business world. So actually, sometimes it's hard to pitch when you understand what you have, and you need to sell your dream, actually, rather than what you have right now. So this is when you need to switch your brain in this case and start think differently. But what a surprise. If you're starting to think differently in this case, you are becoming better, not only in pitching to the investors, but your product becoming better, because you're starting to dream about your product, you're starting to sell the dreams, and in this case, you can figure it out what you need to build. So yeah, that's maybe the specific that we have, just raw true, without any additions. That's it. If we're talking about the traditional stuff that investors looking for, I can approve that. I can remember the name of this. There's the 2F, I think. Team traction, and I think, I can't remember the third T in this case, but yeah, it is like this. So they're looking for the founders, they're looking for the traction of the project, and they're looking for the team. Because if you're like a solopreneur in this case, it's good, it's fancy, but if they want to give you a large amount of money, they need to be sure that if you will burn out, or if you will decide not to run this business, you have a team who can run this business for you. So that's it.
When I spoke to the co-founder of Activision, what he told me was that the only thing that he looked for was a really good founder, because even if the product sucks, if it's a good founder, they can just pivot and change the business.
Exactly.
If it doesn't work, you just do something else. And if it's a good founder, they're going to figure out a way to make it work.
Exactly. That's what we did actually with our RWA. So we pivoted, and part of the investment was raised. So we just told our investors we're pivoting, so we can keep your funds and you will get your access.
Great. You started this business around the same time that AI was, rapidly developing. How has AI changed your workflow?
Oh, it's another topic that I'm happy to discuss. I was I was a vibe coder before it became a mainstream. You know what? To be honest, I started what they call in a vibe coding right now with a GPT 3.5. Nobody can believe it, but they started with GPT 3.5.
Do you have a technical background?
Yes, exactly. Because I've built all of my businesses because of the technical background, even the restaurants. I've built it as an IT person. So yeah, I built it not from the burgers that we're selling, but from the ERP system that we're installing. So we need to calculate everything. So yeah, and one of my major problems as a technical person, was that my background was around architecture and was around the system design rather than coding. So coding was a problem for me. Of course, it was okay for me to build some simple HTML, GS, or CSS. So to build a simple website, that's okay. To correct some simple website within, let's remember, WordPress or Joomla, back to those days in PHP. I can do some strings in a code, but I cannot build the whole product. And when the GPT 3.5s were released, I just can't remember this time. So it was like a New Year holiday, and I decided to like do something with the GPT 3.5 to give it a chance to build something. And I decided to build a website based on React and e-commerce store. So complicated project. I'm always learning through the complicated projects. So, and surprisingly, I built it within 2 weeks. Of course, yeah, because I'm a technical person, I have a background. So it was like repetition. So I'm asking about the structure. Then I asking his about the part of the code. It was a nightmare. So I can't recall what was that, and like what I can do right now with the Claude right now, or with the cursor, obviously with an anthropic model. So I can just throw stuff to the cursor, go away for a 4 hour, and then get back, things done. That's it. Testing, production. We're ready. With this GPT 3.5, it was like string by string. So it was a very few lines of context. So you should build like with the small pieces. But with that, you can understand what's happening. And then I can remember there was a plugin for the VS Code. So they added some addition to the code. There's tabs when you can click tab and it just can guess the code that you're writing.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I started with that. I started with a low code platform. So I believe I'm building some prototypes with Xeno or Xano. Can pronounce the name of the partner platform, and NAN when they just started. So we experimented with that. Yeah. And
I remember spending so much time building the best NAN stuff. And then 6 months later, Claude and Replit just
you just can throw it away, but it is good. So I believe if you want to teach children how to code, probably the NAN is one of the best instruments, because it just show you a visual diagram. I might be wrong because I'm millennial, so I'm just, maybe if this is children, they should be just working directly with the Claude without all of this stuff. But anyway, so that's a long story about the AI, about myself. So I've built a lot of products with an AI. It was just a glimpse of the fresh air for me, because, hey, it's an AI. I finally can do coding. I don't need to spend a lot of time to learn coding. I can just explain it to the AI so he can give me a lines of code, then the pieces of code, then the full projects. So yeah, that's it. That's what we have. And what we have in the company right now, it might sound like a joke, but we believe that we can be a unicorn with a team of only 50. So no more than 50 people, including sales, accountant, support, compliance staff. So 50 people. What we have in a development department right now, it's a team of 6. And when we meet with the founders of another platform of our scale, they're sharing that they have departments like 20 people in a development department, 30, 50, only developers. And it's just a massive amount of money that they spend into them. But we're focused on an AI. My CTO, so the guy who started with us as a front end, he's now a CTO. So I decided not to be a CTO. I'm focusing on product. He is an agent orchestrator right now. So I remember back to I think it was beginning of the 2026, it was an article. I believe that the guy from Google, one of the core guys in Google, and he said that the formation and organizations of the new era and the good managers of the new era will be managers who can manage teams of people and agents. So we decided to be the team like this. And my CTO, he's like managing peoples and managing agents. And it's like fantastic. Every new day, he's showing new agents, new flows, and part of the L2 and L3 support, I think 90% is covered by the agents right now. And it's super fast, super correct, super precise. It's amazing. I believe that we can do a lot of things with an AI.
So how exactly is this AI agent system organized? Is it just like through Claude, or is there some other tool that other people
We're
don't know?
agnostic to the tools. We're agnostic to the tools. So actually, we're using Cursor. We're using the Claude. We're not about we're not so crazy about like security as a huge company. Nobody can steal the data. So we're just working in the LLM. They not care about it. It's actually what we're doing. And we need to think about the security of the code, not the like data that we throw into the system.
So you're not throwing like your user.
We're not throwing transactions. There, right? We're not throwing the personal data to the AI, to the public models, but we're building the code with it. We're working with some specific agent and support tasks with it. So it's pretty simple. It's Cursor. Half of the guys using Cursor, part of the guys using just the VS Code or another editor. So we're agnostic about it. We're just paying for anything that they want to bring with them. So if they need Claude, we will pay for Claude. If they need some other AI, we will pay for it. No problem with that. So we're like AI-free company in this matter.
How much money do you think you've spent on AI this year so far?
Not so much. This year, I don't know. I'm not trying to understand. If we're talking about the company, within the company, it's not so much. So we're spending around, I think, 5 to 7K for an AI. That's it. Surprisingly low.
Right. It's very interesting because I think a lot of companies are in your position, but they try to make it sound way more complicated than it is. Like a lot of startups, they're using a lot of AI, a lot of, pretty affordable, but they want to make it seem like we're spending $50,000 on AI and we have like a whole prompt engineer, blah, blah, blah. Like
we're always joking about tokens. So every time we're trying to understand what are these people doing with these tokens. So actually, what I can say, probably if you're not managing the agents, you will spend a lot. What does it mean? That's what my CTO Yuri is doing. So every day he's working on improvement of this agent flows. And what does it mean? He always keeping the documentation, the map of the project, the schemes, and all of this stuff in an updated state. So every time when agent want to do something, he knows exactly what's happening within the company, within the product. In this case, we can use Fable, we cannot use Fable right now, but we can use like, let's say Opus 4.8, and we're okay with the tokens because it's not spending so much because it knows everything that it should know about the project. So agents plus people, not only agents. Sorry for this. Yeah, I think this is the key, and potentially we can do a lot more.
So all of these companies that are going like, we spent $1 billion on tokens.
I don't know what they're doing. Exactly.
Is it a marketing thing? Is it a marketing thing just to show investors they're advanced?
Maybe there is another thing that they're doing. So one of the guys that one of our mentors for the AI, his name is Stepan Gershuni, I guess, he's from Spain, I think. So he's a part of the venture capital firm, and he said that one of the main mistakes that company actually doing, they are trying to integrate AI to the company processes. So they're trying to force people to use an AI. Instead, you should build a company around the AI process. So you shouldn't integrate it as a software. So most of the companies, they're trying to integrate AI as an ERP or like Microsoft Excel. Instead of it, you should build a process around of it. So probably if the company is huge and if they integrate it as a software, you will spend a lot of tokens because you are forcing guys to, let's say, to like conduct every document with an AI. What they're trying to do, instead of building a report like within the platform, what they are doing, they just throwing all of this stuff to the AI and they asking to generate report that they will send to the top management, and these guys will send this report to the AI to read it because they are too lazy to read it from the paper. In this case, you can spend a lot of
$500 million in 1 month on AI.
Probably in this scenarios, you can do that, or you can just try to generate the videos, tons of videos. Maybe you want to replace your real employees with the videos, so maybe it's a lot of jokes about it. So I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're doing a really good job with this in AI, but I need to be honest. In this case, we're not spending a lot, and we don't have a demand to spend more.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like most of the business really is getting the right licenses, and that's kind of where a lot of the investment goes, because of AI, because of, how scalable things are becoming due to all these new models, really the next step for the company is just continuously getting these new licenses, which really is just about building relationships in countries.
Not only licenses, so it's not so easy in this case. You need to find out how to align into the very changing landscape of the finances, and it's complicated because license is just a 10% of the effort. Another 90% is the partner work. So you can obtain licensing, but if nobody knows about you, if you cannot prove that you are good in the compliance, if you cannot prove that you are understanding what you're doing, nobody will work with you. You will not obtain the banking rails. You will not be a part of the card scheme. So in this case, you can just sell crypto processing without the fiat part. Nobody needed, because you can just build it with AI in a few minutes if you understand what you're doing actually. So it's not about the licensing, but rather it's about relationship, and it's rather about the architecture and the layering of the pieces of the platform. Mm-hmm. That's why we, by the way, decided to start. It's brave. I think we started our own stablecoin. Maybe you heard about this. It's main USD. We started it with Brale. Brale is a US licensed stablecoin issuer. And it's one of the maybe hacks that we are into the traditional financial system. Because in this case, we are enabled with an instrument of the traditional bank scale. We can collect funds and keep it to our own stablecoin, which is backed by the American non-risky assets, which is like treasuries and some other bonds. Brale managing it. But in this case, what we can provide the market down to zero pricing for the on-ramping, off-ramping, card top-ups, etc., etc. So it's just a completely different game. We can build a network, a chain of the potential edge organizations, as you mentioned, with the Bangladesh, let's say. So potentially what we can do, we can find out a local financial company in Bangladesh. They can be sure that they can redeem the main USD once they need it. So we're keeping funds within the main USD. We're transferring, let's say, Tron. We're minting main USD, keeping Tron as a collateral, sending main USD to this guy in Bangladesh, and he can convert it to the local currency. That's it. Boom. In a few days. Not a few days, a few minutes in this case, potentially. So I just mentioned this product, but it's part of this thing that I described. And it's not only licenses, but it's relationship, because we need to be able to do that. We need to have a relationship with an issuer, with the banks, with the partners. And this is about the architecture. So you can use traditional ways, but you should develop something new. You need to find some unusual ways to use the basic things. So that's it.
That's pretty cool. Is this kind of like your next big project, just to continuously build your presence in these countries?
No, I think if we're talking about the main USD, it's just a part of it's a different project actually, but it's part of the whole infrastructure of the SquareFi and Mosta.
That makes sense. What is, just to kind of wrap it all up, you started a lot of companies and I think they were pretty successful. And you started this one; it's pretty successful. Company to company, as you kind of build them up and sell them, what do you learn along the way, other than like the basic stuff? Oh, work hard. Oh, believe in yourself. Everyone tells me that. But is there anything tangible that you kind of learned along the way that you can tell other entrepreneurs?
It's a good question. I should be prepared, but I'm not. But I don't need to mention the basic stuff in this case.
Everybody asks, maybe 90%, they say, just believe in yourself and work hard. I'm like, okay. I think
you should work hard.
Yeah.
I think it's a basic thing, but you should do that. Always try to find the good people. So as I told you, I was a solopreneur, but right now I'm enjoying my partnership with the Dennis, and I believe that probably you can do more partners if you can afford it. So you just need to understand, nobody in this world, even Elon Musk, is not keeping all of these qualities of the person in itself. So you need to find out somebody who will cover your weaknesses, and you can add your strength to his strength. So you can be combined in this case, and you will be unstoppable. As I told about my partner, be transparent, clear, and truthful. So there is no reason to hide something. If something is happening, just not try to hide it. And the third thing, I'm just telling about myself. So it's just what I learned right now. Work hard. We shared about this. You should do that. Try not to avoid running away from the operational stuff, because it's okay for the businessman to run an operational business and run an operations. And I think maybe if you're on a Series B or Series C, you can focus on a strategy, but there is nothing bad about doing something with your own hands in your own business, unless it's a unicorn. So yeah, it's good. And
what do you mean by that? You mean if you build a company, it's okay to kind of do the day-to-day stuff?
Yes, exactly. Maybe it's controversial to the market, but I'm writing code. I'm speaking with the customers. I'm even answering support tickets, and that's okay. It's totally fine. Yeah, I'm just running 20% of the support tickets, because especially when we're building a new platform, if I can answer the support ticket, I can understand what's happening exactly, because it's much better than Q&A. It's your customer base, so I should read it. And so yeah,
that's actually that's something I wanted to hear. Actually, you answer the support tickets personally, because that kind of gives you a deep insight in what issues there are versus just Q&A.
No. I mean, in this case, probably, there is a few customers when I'm just answering directly. Usually there is a team of the support guys who cover in first line, because it's impossible to cover it by myself. We have some problems with the support. To all our beloved customers who are experienced the bad experience with the support, I'm sorry, we will improve it. But but I'm answering it directly. If we're talking about the L2, my CTO is also answering it with an AI, actually, by the way. But he's controlling all this.
Are you allowed to say that?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, because he's using AI to speed up the answers. So actually what he's doing, he's receiving a complicated question, throwing it to the specific agent. Agent can analyze it, and he don't need to spend an hour to analyze the stuff. Agent can read the logs. Agent can read the database, read the source code of the project. And if you're using the modern models, he can just throw you and answer that is correct in 99% situations. So we're just shortening the time, but you still need a person who can understand all of the stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe this is my recommendations. Good partners, be clean in this case, and transparent with the partners, with the employees. And by the way, employees, so try to hire somebody that is okay with you. So don't try to hire guys from the huge companies because they are not about the startups. Try to hire like a freelancers. That's okay. A guys who are like disappointed in the huge companies, creators. It's complicated to work with them. Very complicated to work with them. But if you can keep these guys within like 1, 2, 3 months, they can show an amazing thing that they can do. And potentiality of the teams like this. And of course, the salary is number one. So if you need to pay salary, first of all, you need to pay salaries, then everything else. Don't invest in something if you cannot pay salaries. That's it. Be fair with your employees. If you cannot pay salaries, just say that you cannot do that. Probably half of them will go away and half of them probably can stay with you and wait when you will be ready to pay.
Have you had a moment where you weren't able to pay salaries? And
No, not in this project. I experienced this before, especially in the restaurant business. But yeah, it was a rule of thumb. So I need to pay salaries. If I hire the guy, I need to pay a salary in full. That's it.
That makes sense. So if someone wants to send you like fan mail, they can just write a support ticket.
Yeah, probably. Or they can register on the platform and run the KYC and KYB, and we will onboard them in 3-4 days.
Those are 2 options. Well, It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Anton. All of Anton's links will be in the description. Make sure to like, comment, share, etc. And I'll see you in the next one. See you later, guys.
See you guys, and thank you, Ivan, for the invitation. Bye-bye.